Hey, welcome to Bollox Talks and Tangents. It's Thursday. Got my friend Derek here. Got Clay in the booth. We have a parlor guest actually who's decided to stay in the booth.
Not really a parlor guest if you stay in the booth.
So it's a booth guest.
It's a booth guest, yeah.
So we have a booth guest.
I think
our studio audience.
Yeah. I think our booth guest had a look at the two of us, had a look at Clay and thought, I'm staying in the booth.
Well, the problem with the parlor is if your bladder's not strong enough for the entire hour, you have to crawl under the table to go to the bathroom.
That is true.
And that deters a lot lot of parlor guests.
To be fair, I've crawled under tables in my life.
I do not doubt it. And I still do. I still do.
Still do.
Hey, you know what, though? I want to say thank you to everybody joining us tonight. We got a really, really cool show.
Great show tonight.
By the way, I'm a little upset with you.
That's okay.
You picked the categories, and you made my head blow up this week.
I did, yeah. Yeah, sorry about it. I kind of blew my own head up as well, though.
The measurement thing was insane.
Holy mother of rabbit holes of all rabbit holes.
It was insane. I mean, I had to, nail it down to 6 or 7. Hopefully we don't have the same 6 or 7.
I found myself at one stage suddenly in the 6th or 7th century, and I thought, what the fuck have I done?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We started with odd units of measure, and it went all kinds of places.
It went everywhere. It went everywhere. It went everywhere. But we got word origins, and we got cities and how they got their names.
Yeah, cities and towns in Florida and how they got their names. So that's the plan.
That's exciting. That was some fun stuff there.
Yeah, for sure.
Some interesting stuff. But we got to say thank you to our sponsor. You want us to lead us off with City Gates?
Yeah, City Gates Distillery and St. Augustine Distillery. Okay, folks, look, right downtown, right by the City Gates, over by the ice plant. These guys make absolutely beautiful liquor. We've sampled their peanut butter whiskey. We've sampled their salted caramel. Mm-hmm. Their bourbon is amazing. Get your butt downtown, ladies and gentlemen. Get in here and get yourself some bottles. The holiday season's coming up. Perfect presents. Yeah. Perfect presents.
All right. The other one, we had this pizza last week before in the studio. Just amazing pizza. They're doing an incredible job over there. 900-degree pizza and pasta. Yeah. It's right there off of Lewis Speedway near the high school and that strip mall right there. It's
great pizza.
Great sauce. And they have they have amazing pastas, lasagnas, spaghettis, any of those things too. But the pizza's so good. It's so hard not to order that.
It's hard not to order.
Yep.
Okay, can I give a shout out to your main men here?
Yes.
The Abare, Kresge and Associates.
I went and saw him this week.
You saw him this week?
He's drinking heavy right now.
How long were you in there? Hours?
I was there for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Everyone else's meeting's 30 minutes. I was in there for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, they might be the greatest accountants, certainly around here, maybe in the history of the world. Because if they can figure out how to get him out of jail.
Uncle Sam still gets his cut.
Uncle Sam still gets his cut. Blake still has his inheritance. Yeah, but he's
still going to get his inheritance. But here, I'm giving a cheers now to Abare, Kresge and Associates this week because they worked overtime with me. So thank you.
Amazing.
Cheers to you guys.
The Beacon Listening Room.
Yeah.
Gypsy Cab Company. Bought my dinner there last weekend, Saturday night.
Okay.
Yeah, called it in, went over. Food is amazing. Burgers are incredible. But I think what I love most about the place, the staff is endlessly helpful. They are the nicest, easygoing staff. I love the place.
All right. Special shout out to the Beacon Listening Room. This next Tuesday. Okay. So World Series is starting. So I believe it'll be game 3 or 4.
Okay.
Sports announcer from the Atlanta Braves, Chip Carey, is going to be there the hour before the baseball game starts.
Oh, yeah.
Huge baseball fan.
Harry Carey's grandson?
Harry Carey's grandson. Skip Carey is his dad, who was with the Braves for decades.
And
now he's with the Braves. Just a great baseball guy. I'm going to go over there before the game and check it out.
Yeah.
And he lives here in town.
He lives here. I think the last time I saw him, I may have had a beer with him on St. Patrick's Day. He may not remember. I'm not entirely sure I do, but
Yeah, right before he had to go back for a season.
There you go.
Yeah, so he probably hits the bottle. Well, his grandpa hit the bottle during the seventh inning stretch, which is a beautiful thing.
Proper baseball.
Yeah. All right. Meehan's Irish Pub. Reggie and the crew over there. You can do a pub crawl within the same pub.
You can do a pub crawl within the same pub. I said it on this show before. I have paid a tab in there and gone back the next night and paid tabs at the other 2 bars.
Yeah.
You can be out back, and at this time of the year, sitting out back is pure magic.
The backyard, they got live music back there. They got Kelly. They got Hubble back there. You can get the same food menu.
Yes, you can.
Have you ever? And I've only seen these. I've never actually tried it because I see bachelorette parties and all those. They have the famous fish bowl.
The fish bowl. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Not done it.
It looks like a pop, or not a Pop Tart, but a sweet.
A sweet tart.
Sweet tart.
Yeah.
In a drink.
Yeah.
But it's in a fish bowl.
It's massive.
It's got like 6 straws coming out of it. It looks like a human headache.
To be fair, I think it's built only for woo girls. You know the ones who take a drink and go, woo!
Yeah.
That's it.
And, I think I saw some frat boys doing it too.
Well, okay, so woo boys.
Woo boys also. High five.
Oh.
All right. St. Augustine Pirate Museum. All right. They got a little special something going on at the Colonial Quarter this week. So
they do, yeah.
They got a little haunted house thing going with Captain Mayhem.
Yes, they do.
And that's I believe it starts Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
It does, and I'd like to give a special shout out to Cindy because Cindy is a wonderful supporter of just about everybody in town, and Cindy's a great supporter of Betty Griffin Centre.
Oh yeah,
and you know what? It's a really worthy cause, and Cindy's a bit of an unsung hero. So Cindy, thank you very much indeed. And folks, again, we're coming to the holiday season. If you have not been to the Pirate Museum, do yourself and your kids a favor and go to the Pirate Museum. It's incredible.
It's the real deal. And like a couple weeks ago, we did like hokey tourist attractions closed down. This is the real deal.
This is the real deal.
This is the real deal. They got over 800 artifacts. They got one of the oldest pirate flags in the world.
Yeah, one of the original Jolly Rogers.
Yeah, one of the original Jolly Rogers. All right, so the whiskey of the week, I'm drinking Knob Creek. It's a Knob Creek bourbon, and it's just a solid bourbon.
Yeah,
it's a cost-effective bourbon. You can get it for under $50, and it's just a solid bourbon. Straight out of Kentucky.
Straight out of Kentucky.
Yeah,
you can't say finer than that.
Yeah, so cheers to that. You got your Mexican beer going.
I got my Mexican beer going.
So
my brother's from the south of the border.
Yeah. Well, we're not saying which border.
No, never.
All right, so we're doing word origins. We always start off with that. You want to go first?
Sure, I'll start. So it's a thing, again, I hear it all the time. It's where there's a will, there's a way. And I was like, okay, it's fairly straightforward. Everyone knows what it means. If you've got the drive to do something, if you want to do it, then you'll probably accomplish it. Where there's a will, there's a way. But when I looked it up, I found that it comes from 1640. And it comes from a book of wise words. It was called the Jacula Prudentum. Prudent words or wise words. By a poet, George Herbert, and he collected all of these things and put it in this book.
When there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, and sold it as wise words. Yeah. And I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I used that term a lot when I was Parks and Recreation director because my assistant director's name was Will. So all the stuff I didn't want to do,
you had a will.
I said, "There's a will, there's a way." And he's like, "I can't do it." Aha! If there's a will, there's a way. So Will. But I didn't realize it went that far back.
Yeah, kind of cool.
So,
all right, what do you got?
All right, so mine comes from 1512 is when it dates back in Germany.
Okay, I like it.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Okay,
all right.
I like that.
So, like when you're doing a task, like you're throwing out the bathwater, don't make a mistake and hurt someone else.
Okay,
is what it kind of means. And what it goes back to is it used to. The father would take the bath first. They would get the first bath, and then the mom, and then the oldest child, and then you'd work your way down. And by the time you got to the baby, how nasty was that bathwater? So you might not see the baby.
You might not. Yeah, depending on whether if you're a coal mining family.
Yeah.
In a certain part of Upper Silesia in Germany.
A very sooty neighborhood. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And then it was later in reference to people that were trying to free slaves and some of those things. It became popular again in the U.S., but it's still a very popular saying in Germany, but it became popular in the U.S. with be cautious who you're hurting when you're trying to help someone.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Because like if you're trying to help this slave family, they can't take punishment on you.
Yeah.
As a white person, but they could punish the slave.
That's right.
So it kind of went along with that, and it got associated with that during the time of trying to free up abolitionists and stuff.
Wow. Yeah, it's a great expression.
Yeah.
And in my head, I kind of hope that somebody once did throw the baby out and then have got to go outside looking for it.
Might have been an ugly baby.
The old German mom is counting the kids. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Kevin! Oh, wait. No.
Kein Fünf. And they're all panicking. Hey.
All right, what's your other one?
So I got one, Speak of the Devil.
Speak of the devil.
Speak of the devil. You hear it all the time.
I get that a lot.
I wonder why.
I walk in a room, and that's probably a comment that's said a lot about me.
Now, so we know what it is.
Speak of the devil.
It's kind of jokey. It's, somebody shows up unexpectedly while being talked about and boom, right? But it used to be, it used to have a much more sinister meaning. It used to be speak of the devil and he will appear. And it was considered to be
I think
tempting.
that's what that means when I come in the room.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Obviously. But yeah, it was dangerous to say the devil's name. It was dangerous to think of the devil. It was sort of like, it used to be if you took the Lord's name in vain, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
But this was the other side of that, and it meant you were tempting fate and bad things wouldn't happen. If you mentioned the devil, he could show up.
What is it you can't say in the mirror 3 times?
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. You can't say Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror?
I've said it 3 times, and do you know, to this day, nobody has handed me a vodka drink.
Yeah, it's weird. No, it's just not fair.
I know.
It's not fair.
So, do you want to hear my favorite part of this, though?
What is that?
The first time it was put into print was an Italian guy called Giovanni Torriani.
Speak of the devil.
Speak of the devil. And he published the book in 1666. 1666. Dun, dun, dun.
Speak of the devil.
Speak of the devil.
All right, my last one is, and it comes from a lot of people here in the movie Wyatt Earp, because Doc Holliday says it to Wyatt Earp.
Okay.
And in the movie,
all right,
he says, "I'll be your huckleberry."
Okay.
All right. What it actually was supposed to say was, "I'll be your hucklebearer."
Okay.
All right. And what a hucklebearer is a hucklebearer is a pallbearer.
Okay.
Because the handles on a casket are called huckles.
They're called huckles.
I did not know that.
I didn't know there was a name for the handles on a coffin.
But they left it in the movie, even though he said it incorrectly.
Yeah.
And Val Kilmer said it incorrectly. So you'll see a lot of people still say, "I'll be your huckleberry," and like people still say it like you know, when I'm going into
I wonder why they left
bad
it
situation or something like that. They say, "I'll be," and it kind of runs together.
Yeah.
But the actual word should have been hucklebearer, not huckleberry.
So I wonder if they thought, "I'll be your huckleberry," like I'll be your Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a great one, a hucklebear.
Yeah.
The huckle. Damn.
See, and that's, we might need to do a Mark Twain thing because he put in certain things like that.
Yes, he did.
Like with Huckleberry Finn. I wonder if he had it associated with a huckle and he was Tom's guy.
Maybe.
And like if you're considered a huckleberry or a hucklebearer, you're the right person for the job is kind of the definition of it. So I'm wondering if, and we're going to have to look this up.
Oh, and we will.
If in Tom Sawyer, when Twain came up with Huckleberry Finn, if he's like, okay, that's the right man for Tom Sawyer's best friend. So like that's the guy who's going to carry Tom Sawyer.
So it's funny that you mentioned Mark Twain because when we get to measurements, I've got a Mark Twain stuff.
Oh, you got some Mississippi stuff.
I got some Mark Twain stuff.
Oh, wow. All right, are we doing measurements first or are we doing cities first?
No, let's do cities first.
Cities first.
I like the cities.
All right. So I'm going to go with the city that I pick on probably more than any other city.
You don't pick on cities.
I pick on this city brutally at trivia.
Okay.
All right. I grew up in DeLand.
I may know what you're talking about.
I grew up in DeLand, and between DeLand and St. Augustine we have Palatka.
We do.
All right. And I've always made the joke. I've made this joke probably for 15 to 20 years that I just found out that Palatka is an Indian word. And my joke was, it means trailer park.
No.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever heard you tell that joke, Troy.
Yeah. Well, and that's not true.
What?
I fact checked it.
No.
I was given misinformation.
I can't believe it. Probably Blake back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Clearly
what
when he was like 2.
Yeah.
All right. But it actually is an Indian word. It's from the Timucuans.
It is from the Timucuans, yep.
Timucuans, and Palatka comes from the word, and I'm going to try and say it right, Palatakata.
I think it's Palatakata, yeah.
Palatakata. And they turned it into Palatka, and it means crossing.
Yeah, that's all it means. It means
That's all it means is crossing. And I'm assuming it was the crossing of the river because it gets real narrow right there.
It gets narrow right there. It was a place that was fordable.
Yep.
And on the subject of fordable places in the St. John's River.
I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
That big city up the road from us.
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, which is named after our 7th president.
Our 7th president, Andrew Jackson.
Yes.
Who never set foot in Jacksonville. Named because he was the first governor?
He was the first governor of Florida. So in 1821,
yeah, I think
he was named governor of Florida.
Right. And so the locals up yonder north there, they renamed their town.
Yes, to Jacksonville.
To Jacksonville.
But what was it called before?
It was Cowford. Cowford.
Yes, where the cows forded the river.
Yeah. And again, it was shallow, and it was a place you could get the cattle across. Now, Cowford.
Now, people that are watching right now understand why it's Cowford Chop Shop.
Yeah.
The famous restaurant up there.
Yep.
But that's where that came from.
That's where the name comes from, yeah. And it became Jacksonville. And I looked up Ville as well. And so Ville...
Okay, I just assumed that meant village.
So it's a Roman word. It's a Latin word. Originally meant village.
Okay.
And then it became a French word, which means city. So anytime Ville or Ville is at the end of, it's city of Jackson. Jacksonville.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Doesn't it?
All right, so you did Gainesville.
I did Gainesville for the same reason.
So where did Gainesville come from?
So Gainesville is named after a fellow called General Edmund P. Gaines.
Oh, so it's named after a person.
Named after a person.
Okay.
And he was a famous general. He was a hero of the War of 1812. And Gainesville, Georgia is also named after him.
Okay.
Same reason. He was also a road builder, and he was a military surveyor. And they named, when they renamed the town in 1853, they named it Gainesville. But it was originally called Hogtown, because it was a huge number of pigs in that part of, sort of north central Florida.
I'm sure most Gator fans would be very proud
to know that they were Hogtown.
They're from Hogtown.
I like it. I like Hogtown.
Yeah. I grew up on a hog farm, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Completely all right. All right. One of the ones that I wanted to look up, and because I always questioned, because I always thought it was just a great name for a city.
Okay.
Kissimmee.
Kissimmee.
All right.
Yeah, great name.
Great name for a city. And I was like, because I don't know if you know this, but they used to have a minor league baseball team there.
I did not know that.
The Astros were there.
Really?
Say it all together.
Kissimmee Astro. Kissimmee Astro.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
They changed it.
The Kissimmee Astros.
They changed it to the Osceola Astros. I think it's Osceola County there is where Kissimmee's at.
Okay.
And it's not Kissimmee, it's Kissimmee.
Kissimmee.
Okay.
All right. So where's it come from?
It is actually means long water, because there's lakes all throughout there. Okay. And it's from a group, and I wasn't able to really do the research on this, and it's from a group called the Jororo people. Jororo.
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 All right.
I haven't even been able to, because I was like just going
Never heard of them.
all over the place. So I'm gonna have to do some more research on that. But it actually means Kissimmee.
Yeah.
means Long River.
Long River. And just if there's any Joe Roro people out there, just put something in the comments, please, while you're watching this.
And drop some stars and give us money.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
Sponsorship would be great. We need liquor money.
We do. So I looked up, I went local. St. Augustine.
Yeah.
So why is St. Augustine named St. Augustine? Mm-hmm. So it goes back to 1565. Don Pedro Menendez de Avilés, when he sighted land on the feast day of St. Augustine of Hippo, which was August the 28th.
So that's the first time he sighted land, because he didn't come aboard until what, September?
September,
8th? September 7th or 8th.
Yep. Yeah. But they decided to name where they landed after the patron saint, which was also the patron saint of Avilés, which where he was from.
Okay.
So they sighted land on St. Augustine's feast day, and then St. Augustine was also the patron saint of Avilés. Don Pedro de Menendez was from Avilés, so that's why our town is called. And to the rest of the world, it is St. Augustine.
Augustine. Yeah. All right, and here's the thing. Because throughout history, this has always happened.
Yeah.
Do you think he really sighted land on that day? Because they cook the books.
No!
Like we cook the books today in history, and we make stuff that makes for a better story.
Yeah.
You take Fox, you take CNN, you take MSB, you take us. We're cooking the books. So do you
What we're telling you is the truth.
Yeah.
We shake the stories until the truth falls out.
Yeah, that's it. And that's how we get to Bollox Talks and Tangents.
That's right.
So, but do you really think?
No!
It took him 9 days
to get
from where he saw land to actually step foot on the land.
Yeah.
How crappy a boat was that? Come on, Menendez. Come on, Pedro. Not feeling that. Not feeling that. All right. Here's one that I thought was hilarious, and I think you did this one too. Tallahassee.
Tallahassee's great name.
What do you have for the old name?
So the old name I got, it's an Appalachian Indian or a Muskegon Indian name.
Muskegon, yeah.
And it means old town or old field.
Old field is what I have, yeah.
Old field.
Okay. Yeah. So what's the story behind it?
Well, I don't know the story behind why it became Old Field, but I love the story of why Tallahassee is the state capital.
Oh, that is a beautiful story.
Okay.
I didn't know you went there.
I went there. Yeah.
So I think this is more folk than real, but we're going to go with it.
I don't know.
We're going to go with it.
Real. Okay. So
we're talking East and West Florida, right?
We're talking East and West Florida.
All right.
So you had on the west coast of Florida.
It's stupid how our brains work. It's like, and I can tell you guys, we don't look at what the other one has coming into the studio.
I have no idea what he does.
We don't know what the other person has. But I mean, I know this story, and I tell this story a lot on my rooftop tour.
Yeah, so you got Pensacola over on the west coast, big Spanish town. You got St. Augustine on the east coast.
Because they're both battling for who's the oldest. Yeah. So, and Pensacola, it's actually the capital, was a little bit west of Pensacola. Because Florida used to be East and West Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people know that. They used to be East and West Florida. It wasn't always one Florida.
Yeah. And there was really absolutely nothing further south than where St. Augustine South is today.
Yeah. Key West had a little port.
Yeah. And
there was
nothing
no
in
Miami.
Between. No Miami.
There was no Miami. There was no Tampa.
No, nothing. Didn't exist.
All right. But like if you wanted to get something done, if you bought something in Key West, there was two places. If you're in East Florida, you had to come to St. Augustine before you actually owned it.
Yep.
And it would take you months.
Yeah, because you had to come by boat or walk. Good luck.
Think closing on a house is tough now?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the story, it may be apocryphal, but Tallahassee became the state capital because neither Pensacola nor St. Augustine could agree on where the state capital would be.
Yes.
Both St. Augustine wanted it and Pensacola wanted it. And so Tallahassee was like the central point in Florida. And you had a guy, John L. Williams from Pensacola, and Dr. William Simmons from St. Augustine did agree on these terms. Now, there is a story that they walked and met.
Yeah, that's where they met.
Yeah, sure,
that's
absolutely.
The story. That's the story I thought you were going to go with. That's the story I thought you were going to go with. And here's the funny thing. All right. The guy who left from Pensacola, say his name again.
John L. Williams.
All right. The best football player that ever came out of Palatka. He played for the Seahawks. He played for the Cowboys, and his name is John L. Williams.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy mother.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So Tallahassee is roughly midway between the 3 points, but it was also...
It was probably the most populated city between the three.
It was, and of course it's up a little bit, and there was nice waterfalls, and it was kind of a nice park.
It's a pretty area. It actually has some hills.
It does.
And it had what we have today, and it's been filled in quite a bit. There used to be a waterway that almost got all the way to Tallahassee. It's went away since then, but there used to be a waterway working its way through, kind of like the chain of lakes that we have in the middle of Florida. It was very similar to that would come from the Gulf up to Tallahassee.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Here you go. This one's one.
Give me one.
Boca Raton.
I know what it means.
What does it mean?
It means mouth of the rat.
Yeah, jagged tooth or mouth of the rat.
Yeah.
So.
And Boca's real fancy.
Yeah.
It's real fancy.
They're very bougie.
They are bougie.
Yeah.
From being from mouth of the rat.
Yeah.
So why is it called Boca Raton?
Well, it's the inlet. The inlet that as you go into there.
Okay.
The way the jagged rocks look like a mouth of a rat, which is teeth going in every different direction.
Wow. All snaggle-toothed.
Yeah, a snaggle-toothed rat.
I like
it. It's mouth of the rat.
I like it.
A jagged tooth rat is what basically the most hoity-toity of Florida.
Oh, it's very fancy.
Live in the mouth of the rat.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So St. Petersburg is a nice little story too. So St. Petersburg was named in 1888, and it was the first train arrived there, and there was a couple of guys were behind bringing the train down. There was a guy called these Williamses, John C. Williams, who was from Detroit.
Okay.
And the other guy was Peter Demons, who was an exiled Russian aristocrat. And apparently, again, one of these stories, if it's not true, I fucking wish it was.
Yes.
Apparently they flipped a coin to see what the name of the city would be.
And the Russian
and
won.
Demons won, and he was from St. Petersburg in Russia, and therefore he named...
The Russian won by a coin flip.
Yeah.
What would have been called if it was...
We're not sure, but Williams named the best and coolest hotel after his home city, which was Detroit. So maybe St. Petersburg would have been... Detroit of the South? I don't know.
I'm so glad the Russian won.
I am too.
I never say that. I don't think I've ever said that out loud, but I'm glad the Russian won. It's like in Rocky IV.
I was going to say, good job you're not rooting for Ivan Drago here.
Yeah. In Rocky IV, you're rooting against Rocky. All right. Here we go. This one's one I wanted to, because Ocala.
I have no idea.
All right.
Ocala, go on.
All right. So Ocala was actually like the hub for the Timucuans.
Okay.
So it was like a major village for the Timucuan Indians.
Okay.
All right. And what it actually means, and it is a Timucuan word, and it means big hammock.
Big hammock.
All right. So what we have today is the Ocala National Forest.
Right.
So it's all those trees and stuff like that. And so it completely, when I read it, I was like, oh, that completely makes sense. But I didn't realize this was a major village. Like all the trading, if tribesmen from the Timucuans here wanted to get together, they would go to Ocala.
And that's where they traded, and that's where they did everything right there. That's fantastic.
It was the most major hub for the Timucuans was in Ocala, and it means big hammock.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, Ponte Vedra.
Oh, I don't know this one.
Okay, so Ponte Vedra is one of those I love because again, Ponte Vedra a tad on the bougie side, a little bit,
along with the mouth of the rat.
Yes. So Ponte Vedra. So originally Ponte Vedra was known as.
I assumed it meant something green.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
No. So originally it was.
I was going with Verde, and I just assumed it meant something green.
So originally it was called Mineral City. Ponte Vedra was originally Mineral City because there was deposits of titanium and potash and that kind of thing there. But they changed the name in 1929. The company that was doing the mining there wasn't enough stuff to mine. And the guys that developed St. Simon's Island and turned that into a resort were looking for somewhere else to turn into a resort. And they found Ponte Vedra. but they knew they could not sell Mineral City as a resort.
So it was a marketing thing.
So they were looking on maps, and they had to be drunk. They had to be drunk because one of them found the city of Pontevedra in Spain. And he looked at the map and he ran his finger across from where it was in Florida. And he ran his finger across and he's like, look, it's the same latitude. It's not the same latitude.
I was going to say Spain is nowhere near the same latitude.
Had he actually gone across by latitude, Boston is across from Pontevedra.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So he missed by...
Boston's across from Pontevedra in Spain.
He missed by 800 miles.
Yeah, it's a little...
Yeah.
He must have had a globe and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Or it's 27 martinis.
Yeah.
But that's why it's...
But it would have been too early for martinis.
Oh, it would have
because that didn't get invented until it was in Martinez, California.
Some pot liquor then maybe.
Yeah.
But basically, so what it means old bridge. Ponte is a bridge.
Okay.
And Vidra, it's an old Latin word and it means bridge. Old bridge. That's it.
Old bridge.
Yeah. So. But it's cooler than Mineral City.
Yeah, I just always thought it meant something green because I was going with Verde.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it does sound like Point Verde. I'm like, oh, Green Point.
Yeah, that's what it's. I always thought it was something with that. So,
aha.
All right,
indeed.
Last one we got on the cities because we got so much to do on the measurement stuff, and we got to thank our sponsors again. All right, this one's the one that I thought was the nicest.
Oh, okay. Nice to finish on the nicest.
And I can tell you this: I've probably been in more baseball fights with this city,
the nicest,
than any other baseball city in my life.
Okay.
Hialeah. All right. You ever heard of Hialeah?
I've heard of Hialeah.
It's north of Miami.
Yeah.
It's where they have a lot of the racetracks.
They do.
All right. They used to have the highlight front on there.
Yeah.
All right. But they used to have some really good baseball players.
Okay.
All right. And it actually means beautiful meadow.
Beautiful meadow.
Screw them.
Oh, fuck them. Yeah. How do you get into baseball?
Throw it in my chin again.
How do you get into baseball fights with people from Beautiful Meadow?
I know. A good thing they're not called Beautiful Meadow. I'd have felt bad about throwing my bat at the pitcher that tried to hit me in the head.
It just sounds like a bunch of hippies, weaving flowers and, going, here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to our beautiful meadow.
Aw.
Screw you, Hialeah. Do you have any more that you want to talk about?
I got one. Okay, very briefly. We live in St. John's County.
Yes.
Lots of people have asked me over the years, why is there no apostrophe in St. John's County?
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you two quick stories.
And I worked for him for 25 years. I don't know this.
So one, it's St. John's County because it's named after San Juan del Puerto, which means St. John of the Harbor, which was the Spanish mission that was founded here very early on. But the apostrophe was dropped. There was an apostrophe originally up until 1932, when the United States Department of the Interior, by formal legal declaration, removed the apostrophe because it implied ownership.
Oh.
And so it had to go.
It had to go.
Yeah.
Because the only people that could own us is D.C. Got it. That's why they got rid of it.
That's right.
Okay.
Just like that. So there you go. St. John's County.
I did not know that. And here's something that drives me nuts about local stuff here. All right. So you know what the festival field is downtown?
Francis Field.
It's not St. Francis Field. It's Francis Field.
Yeah.
All right. And so many people call it St. Francis Field.
Yep.
It was named after Freddie Francis,
Yep.
who was related to Henry Flagler. And he built the wall that the St. Augustine Saints, the minor league baseball team, played at.
Yeah.
So they named the field Francis Field because he's the one who paid for the exterior wall, the coquina wall that was around the entire field.
Yeah. Nothing to do with that St. Francis.
No St. Francis. So the festival field is Francis Field, no Saint.
That's right.
All right. We got to thank our sponsors again one more time, and then we're going to get into units of measurement because this one is so ridiculous, and I'm going to have to go to my notes on this one because it's so crazy out there. But I want to say thank you to City Gates Distillery and St. Augustine Distillery. They have the best tours out there, and they have tasting at both.
Yes, they do.
So you can try whatever you want. If you want to try the peanut butter, if you want to try the maple syrup, if you want to try any of those.
Their whiskey is so good. It is so smooth. You will be amazed at how good their distilling is they're craftsmen. They're
I can tell
craftsmen.
you, and someone asked me the other day, hey, I'm going to the distillery. What do you think I should get? My recommendation is a single batch bourbon.
Yeah.
They've had award-winning rums or award-winning vodkas and rums and stuff like that, but their single batch bourbon is as good as anything that's out there.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So, all right, 900-degree pizza. I'm going to let you go.
900-degree pizza. Look, it's over there right beside St. Augustine High School. It's right off of Lewis Speedway. Their pizzas are fantastic. And at the end of the day, that's all you need to have. They make great pizza. The sauce is incredible. The staff is amazing. Mm-hmm. The pasta is ridiculously good. It's right by St. Augustine High School.
Breadsticks. They got everything in there.
People, when you're over at an event at the high school, go get some food at 900-degree pizza.
Yeah. And I mean, it's cost effective. I mean, you can feed the family.
Everything.
Yeah, it's wonderful. All right, Abare, Kresge and Associates. I want to say thank you to Billy again for putting up with me this week. You know, and I don't know if you know this, but if you filed an extension, your extension's still good until like February because of Ian.
That's right. Yeah, Hurricane Ian.
So there's another extension on top of your extension, but I bit the bullet. It wasn't a good week. It wasn't a good week. We're going to need more sponsors.
We are going to need more sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, because one of our sponsors,
yes,
did a good job for Troy, though.
No, they do an amazing job. I really appreciate the friendship that they've always been and had my back on so many different businesses that I wanted to start. And they'll tell you, say, hey, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah, they give great advice.
Yeah, and they can do estate planning. They can do all these things at Abare, Kresge and Associates.
They're good people.
All right.
The Beacon Listening Room Gypsy Cab.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the first restaurants I was ever in St. Augustine back 32 years ago was Gypsy Cab. You know what I had that night?
Gypsy chicken.
Gypsy chicken. And still to this day, I will go to Gypsy Cab several times a year and I will order Gypsy chicken because it's fantastic.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I'm telling you, it's one of the few meals in town that I crave.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and like I like to cook a lot. So I cook a lot of things for myself. But the one thing where I just go, okay, I got to have some Gypsy chicken.
Yeah. Understandable.
And Ned has a cookbook out. He's back at Gypsy again.
He is indeed.
And I'm telling you, the food over there is spectacular. Got the hiccups. This upcoming Tuesday, I might have drank too much bourbon. This upcoming Tuesday, Chip Carey is going to kind of do an hour-long kind of town hall talk. Let's talk baseball type situation.
Yeah.
At the Beacon Listening Room.
Yeah.
And then the ball game's going to come on after that.
This guy knows baseball like nobody knows baseball.
I mean, there is nobody in my mind that I think about baseball more than when I think about Harry Carey.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to, when you say Harry Carey, you're like, okay, I sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Yeah.
So
I knew about Harry Carey in Ireland.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't get to see, we were talking last night, Frank, the owner of the Beacon and Gypsy, and him and I were talking last night. He's like, yeah, I grew up with Harry. And I was like, I got to see Skip Carey more than I did Harry Carey, because Harry Carey, most of his games were during the day.
They were during the day, yeah.
And I had baseball practice.
Right.
So I got to see Skip Carey at night with the Superstation.
Right, because he was TBS
more
and TNT.
More than I got to see Harry Carey with WGN.
Yeah.
And both of those guys had national coverage when cable first came out.
That's right.
So, and that's Chip's dad and grandfather.
Yeah.
So
Tuesday night, Beacon Listening.
Tuesday night at the Beacon. Should be a lot of fun. All right, Meehan's Irish Pub. I'm probably going to go there tonight.
I'll probably be there Saturday night.
Yeah, I'll probably be there Saturday night too. But they have 3 bars. They got the backyard. They got Johnny's Oyster Bar, and then they got the pub inside.
Yeah, and look at the best pint of Guinness. The best pint of Guinness outside of Ireland. They have the best people working there. Look at sit upstairs on the balcony and look out over the bayfront and tell me a better view.
There's no better view. There's no better view to sip a cocktail.
Yeah,
and just enjoy the night.
It's wonderful.
My cousin came in from Tennessee. Tammy came in from Tennessee. She's watched the show, and she's like, all right, you just got to show me where this Meehan's is at. And we sat on the porch, right on the edge.
Yeah.
And she was just like, okay, you didn't lie. You didn't lie on your show. So it's just that amazing of a place. All right, St. Augustine Pirate Museum, they got a lot of big stuff going on this weekend at Colonial Quarter.
They're doing a huge thing at Colonial Quarter for Halloween. A lot of stuff for the kids. Mayhem, Captain Mayhem will be out there. And again, big shout out to these guys. They do a tremendous work in the community. They're always giving back. They're always supporting local events. And And look, at the museum is fantastic. It is a real history museum. Pat Croce did an incredible job over there putting it together, artifact after artifact after artifact. It's well worth a visit several times a year.
You can tell he loves the history of pirates.
Loves it.
Loves the history of pirates, and it shows. Cindy, you do an amazing job there. Appreciate you and what you do for us here at our show, and what you do in the entire community.
Yeah.
So we can't beat the sponsors.
Now
we
look
have.
and it's part of what makes this place this place.
Yeah. That's what amazing. We start a new show, and we have these amazing people that have our back immediately. So
thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. All right, measurements. Oh. Dude, I'm telling you right now, like normally I do research for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, which is a lot for me. All right. Cause I'm super like this easily distracted. This one, I kept going and kept going and kept going.
Oh my God.
And I don't even know which ones I really should use. So I'm going to let you go first.
Okay.
I know I want to do these two.
All right. Well, I'm going to go first with one that I find majestically absurd.
Majestically absurd.
I came across this story.
Okay.
20-something years ago. I was in Boston. And somebody told me a story about a unit of measure called the smoot.
A smoot.
S-M-O-O-T. The smoot.
All right. I know what a snoot is, the light that you put on a painting.
This is not that.
It's not a snoot. It's a smoot.
A smoot.
Okay.
And one smoot is 5'7". And the reason,
pretty much my height.
The reason this is
I could change my name to Smoot.
You could. It is the height of one Oliver Smoot, who was an MIT student whose fraternity pledge in 1958 was to be used to measure the length of the Harvard Bridge. And it is, in fact, 364.4 smoots, give or take an ear.
Give or take an ear.
An ear. Yes.
No.
And do you want to know something even better about this? Yeah. This guy, Oliver Smoot, then later became...
Did he lay down?
He did.
360 whatever times.
Apparently, yes, he did.
Okay.
But he later became the president...
Of MIT.
No, the president of the United States of America, and then...
Wait, he became
the international...
Wait, stop. I gotta call a 20-second timeout. You just said he became the president of the United States.
Well, no, hold on, I gotta finish.
Oh, you gotta finish the story.
The president of the United States of America and the International Organization for Standardization for Units of Measure in the World.
So he has his own measurement, and he's president of measurements.
Yes!
You can't make that shit up. I'm sorry. And by the way, I think that's the second time I've cussed today. You've done well with yours, but I did donate because one of my sponsors from the Beacon Listening Room, her daughter said I cuss too much. Okay. So I donated to Ayla's Acres.
Very good.
They got flooded during the thing. So if you want to give some money out there, very, very worthy. And I think they were on the afternoon show with the 904 Ayla's
They
Acres.
are wonderful. And by the way, my son volunteered there over the summer, and he volunteers with their pet adoption too, and they do a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The smoot. So I am one smoot tall.
You're one smoot tall.
Are you quite a smoot?
I'm almost a smoot.
I'm a little over a smoot. So together we're a smoot. I think I'm just under 5'8" now. I think I shrunk a little bit.
All right, what do you got?
Have you started shrinking yet?
I never grew. So
you never grew. I was afraid of heights. I can tell you this: my hair was 5'7", and I outgrew my hair. So.
All right.
Here we go. Knots. If you're flying, you're going 300 knots.
Right. Okay.
If you're sailing, you're doing 20 knots.
Okay.
You know where that came from?
Not a clue.
You have not.
I have not got a clue.
You have not a clue. So what they did is they devised a box that would hang on the back of the boat, and they would have a rope on it.
All right.
And they would have knots tied at certain levels apart.
Okay.
And the faster the boat was going, the more it would pull out the rope.
Okay.
So that's how they measured if you're going this much in a nautical mile. A nautical mile is more than a regular mile.
Okay.
All right. A nautical mile is like 1.16 compared to a
regular mile.
A regular mile, or like a nautical mile is like if you did a mile, it's 87% is a mile.
Okay.
To put it in perspective. All right. But what they did when they were sailing, as that rope went out,
Yeah.
that's how they measured how many knots they were doing.
That's crazy.
And that's how the knots became knots.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is great. Okay, I've got a really, really, really silly one.
Okay. I'm okay with silly.
Did you ever read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
I did not.
Okay. So this comes from...
Did it have a baseball story in it?
It did not.
I did not.
It had a cricket story in it.
Oh, I want to play cricket. I've never had a cricket bat in my hand.
You've missed nothing.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, the genius Douglas Adams, who gave us Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, he's the guy who came up with this term, and it's a real term. It's called the Sheppy.
Okay.
And the Sheppy is... It's a unit of measure. It is the closest distance at which sheep remain picturesque. And it is approximately 7/8 of a mile.
Well, that depends if you're from Palatka.
The closest distance at which sheep remain picturesque.
That's really can't be a thing.
It's a thing.
It can't be a thing.
It is a thing.
Come on, man.
It is published in a book called, I think it's called The Meaning of Life, L-I-F, and it's a dictionary. It's a dictionary that Douglas Adams, and there was another guy, I can't remember his damn name, but Douglas Adams and this guy put together a dictionary of objects for which no name exists. Mm-hmm. So the Sheppy. There you go.
All right. Here we go. All right. I've never heard this term before.
Okay, go on.
Do you know what a Morgan is?
I know there's a Morgan in an old car, but I don't know what. No.
Okay, a Morgan, and it's it actually means morning
in German.
In German and Dutch.
I did know that.
So it means morning in German and Dutch. And what it is, it's the amount of land tillable by one man in the morning. And that's a Morgan. And it's a very common term in South Africa. It's an official unit of measure in South Africa of how much tillable land one man can do.
In a morning.
Yeah.
That's
Morgan.
Fantastic. Do you know? And this is fantastic. Like, again, we don't prepare this stuff. But an acre of land is traditionally how much land could be plowed by one man with a team of oxen in one day.
So that's 43,560?
Yes, it is.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. And ager in Latin means field. That's where we get agriculture, and that's where the word acre comes from. But yeah, an acre is traditionally how much land could be plowed by one man with a team of oxen in one day. And the Morgan is how much you could do it in a morning.
In one morning.
This stuff is batshit crazy.
Yeah. And it just means morning. It just means morning. But it is a measurable piece of land in South Africa.
That's brilliant.
How many Morgans do you own?
I don't own any Morgans.
Yeah.
You know?
So I guess a Morgan.
I'm Morganless.
I guess a Morgan would be almost half of an acre.
I suppose it would. Yeah. Yeah. I remember I was reading that and I was like, but what if you had better oxen? What if you had a better fast walker?
What if you're stronger?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's why then they had to...
What if you're hungover?
They had to set it then in stone at one stage and decide how much an acre would be. Yeah, what it is. And so, if you don't mind, because this got really criminally bonkers for me.
Okay.
Right, so... I started off by trying to figure out, and just bear with me for a second here.
Yes, sir.
I started trying to figure out where the word mile came from.
Okay.
And a mile comes from the Latin, mille passus, which is 1,000 paces. 1,000, millennium, 1,000 paces. And apparently it was a Roman unit of distance, and one Roman pace was 5 feet long, which gives us 5,000 feet.
That's some long-legged Romans.
Well, it was measured from when you put your foot down and then put that foot back down again.
Oh, the same foot.
Same foot.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was 5,000 feet. So then I'm thinking to myself, okay, but why is a mile 5,280 feet?
Gotcha.
Right? And that's when I discovered furlongs. Now stay with me here for a second.
Which is in horse racing.
In horse racing,
yes.
yeah. There's 8 furlongs in a mile, and the mile is 5,280 feet. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Until I discovered the distance of a furlong. And a furlong comes from how long of a furrow, F-U-R-O-W, a team of oxen could plough before they needed to rest and turn round and go the opposite direction. And again,
so that's the length that they got tired at.
That's the length they got tired at, and they then had to turn around.
What was
and then they
Paul Bunyan's oxen's name?
Blue.
Blue.
Right? So I'm trying to figure out, right?
Was it Blue or Babe?
Babe.
It was Babe, but
and
she
was blue. She was blue, right?
She was blue. Okay.
So they decided that furlongs were a more important unit of measure in Elizabethan times. And they actually, in 1593, they passed a law in the English Parliament saying that a furlong was X number of feet, and therefore the 8 furlongs, you could plough this distance in a certain amount of time, therefore that was a mile. And a furlong...
So it all goes back to agriculture.
It goes back to agriculture.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is this stuff... And by the way, it goes further down the rabbit hole. Like, I'm not going to do it to you because I bent my own brain because talking about all the different ways.
These measurements, and like I said, I cut it down to... Look, here, you can see. Look at this. These are measurements. These are all freaking measurements.
All right,
You're not allowed to pick next week. You blew up my brain.
I messed my own head up too. Well, do you got another one that's absolutely brilliant?
All right, so I mean, one that's important to me.
Okay.
Is shots.
Shots. Okay.
You know what a shot is?
I may have done 1 or 2 in my time.
You've done a couple shots.
I have.
All right. You know where it comes from?
I don't.
Shotgun shell.
Shotgun shell.
It's what fits in it.
Okay, who was the first person to decide that?
I'm sure. What do you do? They go back to our whiskey.
You bang,
worlds.
you pop it out, and then go, fuck it, let's fill that with whiskey.
The gunpowder will be fine.
And thus,
I don't have
Fireball was invented.
I don't have a cup. What you got? I got this. All right.
Really?
Yeah.
God, that's brilliant. That is really brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Okay, I got another mad one. Do you want to hear a mad one?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I want to ask you this one first.
Yeah, okay,
I want to ask you this one first because this was an Irish one, and I don't know if you know this. What is a cow's grass?
A cow's grass?
Yes.
It could. Is that the long acre?
Okay. All right. It is an Ireland term. Before the 19th century, a cow's grass was a measurement used by farmers to indicate the size of their fields. A cow's grass was equal to the amount of land that could produce enough grass to support one cow.
Jesus, I never heard that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I was just wondering because it was an Irish measurement. And I was like, I got to ask Derek this one because I never heard of it at all.
Never heard of it either.
A cow's grass.
So
it's a measurement that it takes to allow a cow to survive.
Wow. Okay. My favorite one. My favorite one. And it's a toss-up, but this is a real thing. It's called the Jimmy Griffin Snow Index.
Jimmy Griffin?
The Jimmy Griffin Snow Index.
This sounds like something some frat boys made up.
It is the potential severity of a winter storm.
Okay.
And it goes back to 1985.
85. So it's not that old.
Buffalo, New York. The former mayor of Buffalo was one Jimmy Griffin.
Jimmy Griffin.
And Jimmy Griffin was on television on a morning of an impending winter storm. And he advised the good people of Buffalo to hunker down and grab themselves a 6-pack of Genesee beer. Because he was suggesting that residents needed a 6-pack of beer to wait out the upcoming storm.
It's going to be a short storm for us.
Henceforth, this has become an official unit of measure, and the Jimmy Griffin Index is measured in beer cans. And one can is related to 4 inches of expected snowfall. And so when Jimmy Griffin... one can is 4 inches.
They're drinking slow in Buffalo. I've seen some of their tailgate parties.
6 cans is 2 feet, according to the Jimmy Griffin
Index.
snow index. Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Isn't that a great one?
So I do construction, and I was wondering, where this came from. A square.
Oh, I like it.
All right.
Square.
You know what a square is?
Yeah.
All right. It's basically when you order roofing materials, you order it by squares.
Yep.
All right. And basically what that is, that's 100 square feet. It's 10 by 10 is a square. All right. And what it is a square is an imperial unit of area that is used in the construction industry of North America and was historically used in Australia by real estate agents. So it came from Australia, from real estate agents, and worked its way into our construction world. All right. And it basically is exactly what I said. It's used mostly in roofing materials to calculate the square footage converted into squares. Because if you order roofing materials, you say, oh, I need 10 squares.
10 squares.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
But I didn't know it came from Australia real estate agents.
No.
So I would have never put those together at all.
No, never at all.
All right, I think we each have time for one more.
Okay, so I'm going to go back because we mentioned Mark Twain earlier.
Oh, yeah, let's do that one.
So Mark Twain, his original name was Samuel Clemens.
Clemens, yes.
And
Samuel's a great name, by the way.
Great name.
Yeah.
I wonder why Samuel Troy would think that.
Yeah.
So Mark Twain, when he was on the riverboat in Mississippi, he was, the measurement, 6 feet of water is 1 fathom.
Fathom. And you know where fathom came from?
I do.
Oh, is this what you're doing?
Yes.
I know this one.
So a fathom was the length from fingertip to fingertip of a tall man in England, an English sailor. And it was decided that he was 6 foot was a fathom for that reason.
Yep. We're not a fathom tall.
We were not. I'm not a fathom tall.
My arms, because I have orangutan arms. So my arms might actually be there.
I definitely am not a fathom.
You have pterodactyl arms.
Mark Twain was 12 feet, was 2 fathoms. And you were marking twice. Twain. 2 fathoms. And so he liked it. And he's called Mark Twain for that reason. 2 fathoms deep.
So that's where he came up with the name.
Yeah.
So his pen name had everything to do with 2 fathoms.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
It's nice.
All right. I like it. All right, and I didn't know this, and this was a block. All right? Like
B-L-O-C-K.
A block. All right? And in U.S. cities, a city block is between 1/16th and 1/8th of a mile. So between 100 and 200 meters.
Right.
In Manhattan, the measurement is a block. Usually refers to north to south, which is 1/20th. So in New York, they have short and long blocks.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, Manhattan can't get it right. All right. With a typical North American city, it is often only possible to travel along east and west and north and south streets, traveling between 2 points and giving. So blocks came to be this specific measurement. And I didn't know there were a specific measurement and why.
Okay.
When they started laying out these things, it was planned that way.
Do I have time for one last ridiculous one?
We got one more.
A ridiculous one. It is called,
we're at our hour.
This is called hobo power.
Hobo power.
Hobo power is related. It's an official unit of measure for smell, and it comes from Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. They coined it on their radio show as a measure of how bad something smells, ranging from 0 to 100. Hobo power.
As you're walking towards someone and their smell.
Yeah, and if you hit 100 hobo, you would instantly die of asphyxiation.
I can tell you this. When I did my walk to D.C., I developed a power of being able to tell which animal was dead.
Oh, really?
So I could have used the hobo power at that point, because a skunk is 100 hobo.
100 hobo. For sure, yeah.
A squirrel's like 25 hobo.
Yeah.
A possum's probably, 50 hobo. Did you know that there's a possum line? There's no possums above South Carolina.
Get out of here.
I was wondering, because when I walked past South Carolina, I was like, I stopped. I would see like 4 and 5 possum a day. I had a critter count when I was walking. Because you're walking, you don't have.
You got nothing else to do, yeah.
You walk past a smelly animal, you smell it, you're like, okay, all right, that's this one, all right. But I stopped seeing possums. I'm sorry, armadillos.
Armadillos,
completely
okay,
different.
yeah.
Armadillos. bourbon might have kicked in. But there's an armadillo line, and it's in South Carolina.
That's fantastic.
And I didn't know there was an armadillo line.
We're going to have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Another show.
Animals are where they're at. Hey, I want to say thank you to you guys. If you would, please share. If you enjoyed the show, if you want to watch it again, we'll be back on YouTube again. But I can tell you right now, we love doing this. We appreciate it. The only way we can keep doing it is support our sponsors and keep getting the word out to everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to our sponsors. And we'll see you next Thursday.
Bye-bye.
Good night.